going on, guys? Welcome back into the F1 Fantasy Cockpit. This is your captain speaking. We are just hours away from the start of the Bahrain Secure Grand Prix. And we're going to quickly get into it, talking quickly about Japan, and then we're going to get into some strategies and thoughts for the Bahrain GP. So in Japan, it was kind of a boring race, short of a little pit lane racing between Lando and Max Verstappen. Probably the most exciting and suspenseful got was towards the end of the race when we were all waiting to see if Piastri was going to get let through, which he ultimately wasn't. But McLaren, for as much as they've looked like the best team this year, it hasn't been absolute and complete dominance. In years past, dominant teams with 13 laps to go would have been able to blow by the leader in lesser machinery, but Max Verstappen is just absolutely perfect when it comes to technical drives like that one we saw in Japan. So it is nice to see, though, that the groups might be a little bit closer. Max isn't so far away from the McLarens as we may have thought. He is still capable of winning some races, which is nice to see. He was someone, part of me was wanting to take last week, having been the previous pole sitter and winner the previous 3 years. It's very tempting, especially with a chance of rain. But yeah, it's just there was no reason to not go safe with McLaren, knowing the points would be similar. Behrman, back-to-back points weekends. That's looking very nice for Haas, as Haas continues to be an awesome budget-growing option for a lot of teams. As I think the driver prices, we're starting to see that they're starting to they're not going to be going up nearly as much. I think based on the way the algorithm's supposed to work is they should be meeting their regular thresholds. And then they're going to be seeing small increases, decreases based on how each individual race goes. But I think for Haas and B-Carb, for the fact that they're getting as many points as they are and how low value, they're still climbing. So those seem to be the biggest budget gainers, whereas the drivers kind of have to be playing it as who's coming off of DNF races that are falling off their 3-race average. So there's quite a few with how messy Australia was. So there's going to be a lot of drivers that are going to be having better races going forward for value growing options. So we'll get that. Hajar got his first points of the season, which was really good to see. He looked quite good in the V-Carb. He's quite comfortable. And I'm excited to see what the rookies can do this week in Bahrain, just because this is the track they do all their preseason testing on. So this is the track that they all have the most laps on for the season. So yeah, we'll look to see how those guys can do. Yeah, and the one thing that was surprising with Japan was the lack of red flags due to fires, as we had seen all through qualifying and practice. I think a lot of teams were hoping for a strategy of maybe a fire sparks a red flag, be able to get some free tire changes in there. So position is everything, and trying to go long could be a strategy. Didn't quite work out. I think red flags don't always make the races more exciting, but it does make it a little bit more crazy. And I think a lot more people would have been either very fortunate or very upset had Japan gone that way. Looking at Bahrain now. So Bahrain is a fun track. It's not the most technical. It's very forgiving. There's a lot of runoff areas for these rookies, so it leaves a lot of room for some aggressive driving into corners, hopefully getting really racy. There's 3 DRS zones, as well as one here at the end of turn 13 and 14 is just a really long straight, not a DRS zone, but it does leave a lot of room for late braking up to that DRS detection zone. So anyone that maybe out of that second might be braking late in hopes of being able to just hit that detection zone for going up along this bottom straight here from 15 to 16. Yeah, so the 3 DRS zones, let's see here. The last 3 Bahrain races have had drivers with the strongest cars finish 1-2. So that's a combination of Ferrari 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and then Red Bull the last 2 years. Bahrain has been an early track in the circuit, or in the season calendar. So because of that, the typically stronger cars have been winning here. So for all of us, that makes us believe it's going to be McLaren. So with that, I think McLaren has to be a constructor we're running this weekend. If not, you should be running at least probably George Russell and one of the McLaren drivers to make up for that. I do think we're starting to get more away from the pure budget building builds for some of these teams, and we have to start looking towards building up actual points now, because we can't be building too much budget and sacrificing points too much going forward. So we have to get, I think we're starting to get into the point where pick up a driver or two with DNFs falling off their average. But other than that, we have to start looking forward to points. We got to start getting a little competitive. So just going to be pulling up my team here. So a respectable week, only a little bit less than the Australia went. So not an ideal weekend. My second race team here scored kind of similar points. And then team 3 was obviously one of the ones devastated. So just going into the race weekend here. So this is what we are starting with here. Based on, this is the team that I've been showing you guys in all my global rankings. And then moving over to, where is it here? I believe it is this one. This is the one that I've been building on your guys' behalf to show basically the constructor-focused team. So Haas, as much as I really want to be stacking Mercedes and McLaren in here, Haas has just been such a good value. A guaranteed 0.6 every week is just absolutely huge for this team. I just want to show how much value this team is at now, as this team hasn't really changed too much throughout the season. If I can move everyone there. So 104.4. So this is probably one of the higher valued teams that I've actually been able to see. A lot of that is because these two have just been going up in value. Same with Piastri, Stroll, Ocon have been very fortunate. Looking over here at this team, I know this team kind of got off to a fairly slow start. Looking at the value for this one here quickly. 105.6. Good heavens. That has become the, I'm just very curious now. So this budget builder team, I bet you, is going to be the lowest of all three, which would just be absolutely horrible. 104.7. So my teams have been pretty fortunate. Haven't been as devastated as some. But which is actually kind of really surprising. I was actually shocked to see 105 in there. That is absolutely awesome. But I think that a lot of that could be Mercedes getting a lot of value and Haas, as Mercedes being one of the lower valued teams. It's easier to get that higher tier of points because their points per million is a lot lower than what McLaren has to be. So going forward, if Mercedes does appear to be finishing 3-4, it's definitely worth grabbing them maybe over McLaren, just knowing that once McLaren starts to plateau for where they're going to be finishing for their points per million, that's where we maybe want to move over Mercedes, gain a few more value and not sacrificing too much points. But we really need to see Mercedes emerge, because it's going to be really hard to be dropping the McLaren cars. So just going to go into, I think it's this one, F1 Fantasy Tools here, because I just want to show everyone like what we mean by some of the DNFs falling off. So coming down here, so the team, so a lot of the rookies that crashed out in Australia won because we're taking a 3-race average. So all these big negatives are going to be coming off their scores. Unfortunately not for Alonso, but Bortoleto, Sainz, Duan, Hadjar, Lawson, these ones are all coming off. So Sainz is an interesting one, knowing that's going to be coming off. So knowing that these are the teams that are losing some, we go to Budget Builder. As you can see, it's Hadjar, it's Duan, Bortoleto, and then who else is the other one? Lawson down there. Goodness me, this is required points. Here we go. So like Lawson, I think that's about right for what he could score in a weekend. I think just breaking into the double-digit points is about right. So maybe his value is a smidge high, but he's certainly capable of scoring upwards of 20 points, because he could be one to qualify not as well and then get the overtakes or some of the lesser teams. As you can see from Sainz, basically 9-19. What a threshold. So basically, that seems to be about right. So it seems like for Sainz's current performance, that seems to be valued about right. Like even for Albon's, like looking at the points needed to grow, they're not so far off. They're fairly close. So knowing that Sainz is of a cheaper value, Albon seems to be a little bit more comfortable in the car. I expect Sainz to get better. So in the growing weeks, we could start looking towards a Sainz just to be saving almost $2 million here. But I do expect these two to start climbing at a similar rate. So budget-wise, only if you're able to make other improvements on the team that you can no longer afford Albon. Sainz Definitely a nice consolation prize that way, but I don't think you need to spending it, especially when the points needed are equivalent to Sonoda's, but given how much higher his value is for the points per million needed, this should be more achievable for Yuki Tsunoda. But at 5 million more than Sainz, that could be that's a big difference. That could be the difference between someone wanting Haas and Williams, where we expect Williams to be the higher point scorers going forward, even though Haas is a guaranteed team to basically climb. Even if one of their drivers DNFs here, it looks like, or gets disqualified, they should still be increasing in value. Ferrari, again, we can't touch them because of the DQs in China. Same with the drivers. That's just so hard because a lot of these drivers are only scoring 20, 30 points that are up at the top of the field. Like even here, like Piastri and Norris, 24, 27. Even those points are putting these guys to drop 0.3. So Ferrari cannot be on your team. They're going to be scoring you points, but it just doesn't make sense when you can be having Russell and Antonelli for less money than these two, scoring equivalent points, if not better, and guaranteed to go up in value. So there's no reason at all to own Ferrari drivers. So we should be starting to look toward building teams that are going to be giving us a good balance of points and managing. So looking at this team, so a lot of people were curious. I saw on Reddit and Twitter looking at Hadjar and Bortoleto just because they kind of hit the bottom of what we know now to be 4.5 million just because he went down 0.5. Jones like, oh, it's a new scoring strategy. It's not. Literally just went down. So part of me is kicking myself for switching Bortoleto out for Hadjar, knowing I lost an extra 0.2 million for no reason at all other than maybe a few points. So be it. That's what it is. So looking at the budget builder between Hadjar and Bortoleto still, Bortoleto actually needs positive points, 8 points to be going up in value, as Hadjar does not. So part of me is happy that I do have Hadjar in that category now, just because even at -6, he's going up in value, and he's not a switch I need to make this week. Ocon, negative points, Behrman, negative points. So any combination of these, even Duhan in there at -2, it seems to be a safer race for Duhan. He has been very aggressive, which is nice to see this year. He's been going off track a little bit. He's been crashing a little bit, but I think a lot of that is aggression, and I think it has to stay aggressive just because he is, the rumors he's on a 5-race contract, and then a seat already be gone. So he kind of has to be risking it at this point to be showing what his potential is, because driving safe isn't going to keep that seat at this point after how he is started. Lawson and Hulkenberg, double-digit points. I mean, they're likely to maybe go down a little bit this week. Capable of double-digit points, but I'm not expecting it. Yuki Tsunoda looking nice. That's totally a manageable amount of points to get to increase. Same with Albon, same with Sainz. And that's really all we can do down here. Looking at B-tier constructors, even looking at Aston Martin with 9 points, certainly doable, but they're looking at the negatives to start going down. So it's not going to be huge changes with Aston Martin and Kicksauber. And Alpine, it doesn't take much for a constructor to, any of these B-tier constructors to start going positive. It's just some of these are absolute locks and guarantees to go up in value, so why wouldn't you take it when, they're projecting the points. It could go either way. Gasly has looked really good this weekend. Even in preseason testing in Bahrain, he was just pumping really good laps in, which is nice to see. But he has so many, he needs a lot of points to go negative, so you cannot drive Gasly no matter how good he's looked this weekend. You absolutely cannot, because he's going to be going down 0.6 again. Just be patient for Gasly, for a lot of people that want him. So let's get into how we are going to build our my constructor teams for you guys. So knowing all these guys are going to go up in value, I think Hulkenberg might be the only one I'm really wanting to switch out of this team here. Because looking at Stroll, he doesn't need many points. I imagine he's going to stay put where he is. So let's see what we can do by moving Hulkenberg out. Because I have 10 million to spend now, which is such a slap in the face because it's so close to Sainz. It's almost like one more week, and I'd likely be able to afford that. But Pierre Gasly's right there at 10 million, but don't really want him. Liam Lawson is there at the same price as Hulkenberg now. Leaving a lot of money on the table by going Bortoletto. Behrman. Still leaves almost 3 million on this team to spend. Just looking at value differences between these guys. Piastri is still 5 million, so not quite enough. Because the nice thing is, so I do have 3 free transfers to use this week, which is kind of cool. So if we are wanting to start looking, because I'm just over here in my next window looking at Mercedes, what they need. So Mercedes is in a similar boat to Haas, where they're basically guaranteed to go up in points, because negative 40 points still puts them up 0.3, whereas for Haas it's minus 25. So McLaren is actually safer. So knowing that, and this is my constructor focus, hypothetically, if we build this to take Mercedes somehow, so I may have to kick Albon out here to make this work. No, I can't. I'm just short. Sorry, I'm going to back up. I'm going to try and leave Hulkenberg in there. As much as I don't want to. If I lose Albon, Piastri, and Haas. Let's go Kimi Antonelli being the cheapest. Let's go Mercedes, 3.9. Still can't do it. So even with this team, short of losing one of these guys, so I probably have to burn a minus 10 in order to switch into this Mercedes team. Yeah, I'm just not sure if it's worth switching out of Haas, to be honest, if I can't make it work with the free transfers I have. Yeah, I don't think there's a part of me that would love to switch out Stroll, but it's like he's been going up in value. He's getting points. He's scoring as many points as Alex Albon this year. Yeah, this might be a team that I'm currently holding on. I have to think about this. This might be a team that we're holding on. Because looking, oh my goodness gracious. Let's just have a quick browse, just because I think we're getting to a point where the template is kind of set. So for anyone that's kind of gotten in, you've kind of gained the budget, and now we're getting similar points. Just wanting to look back here at the fantasy tools. So when we go to Team Calculator, this is it's actually lined up really well this week, where the teams that are giving you the most points are also have the highest expected change, where we haven't seen this in past weeks. You're seeing maybe you're happy to see 1.04, and that's the best you can see, or a 0.38. Whereas the teams that are giving you 2.5 million in increase are the teams that are not giving you quite this much. Because what are only 3? So 3 is their best team in expected value. So you're really not losing much to lose 70 points. Yeah, there's really no good reason to be doing that. So knowing that, we got 2.2 there. We got 2.4 here with Vicard, Piastri, Antonelli. This could be a team that looks a lot of fun. The V-carbs are pretty safe. It's a second week for Lawson in that car. And it's supposed to keep going. That's 2.4 almost. That's a really nice value. 2.47 here at 185. That's with Mercedes and Red Bull. Obviously, this one's a little bit more risky. I don't like it just because this is Bahrain. And like I said earlier, historically has been a strong car race where they usually finish 1-2, and it's so safe. We're not likely to see many flags to bunch up the pack together. I just don't think there's enough McLaren ownership, but I guess the difference being they expect Verstappen to do well. They expect Mercedes, and Mercedes should do well this weekend. I don't think anyone should be discounting that. They have so many budget options down here that you have to try and get out from under in the future. I'd have to make a lot of moves to do this one. This one wouldn't be feasible for me to do. There's another Mercedes Red Bull down there. Ferrari we don't want any part of. Just having a look. Yeah, this McLaren V carb seems to be one of the ones like 1.46. So I'm losing by having the double Williams drivers again with Mir and Haas. But this is more of what I'd want my final team to almost look like. Maybe V carb is going to be Haas instead. 1.46 for 184 points because it's pretty close to what the absolute top one is going to be. It is funny though. There's not much for Haas in this. Teams for like most points, like they just don't seem to be in there, which is not surprising, but it's a little surprising, especially when there's teams like Kicksauer. But I guess that's just because you're gaining so much elsewhere. Yeah, you're gaining those points because how many points do they think they're going to get? My heavens, there's just nowhere to be found. Oops, pardon my clicks. Yeah, just nowhere to be found. I know if we go to expected points change, we'll see a lot of Haas teams. Only 13 points, which is 6 less than V carb to be expected. That's really surprising. Even though it's only 6 points, I would have figured there would have been more here. But I do think this is a pretty solid team. That I think a lot of people, if you're able to make this work, could do. That's with Piastri and Russell. So is that something? Let's see here. If this team can actually make it work. So looking at that, so we need McLaren and V carb. So this one, so we're taking out V carb and what else? Basically everyone else. Basically everyone else. Like we have to keep the entire team. Yeah, not even Ocon is staying there. Ooh, I don't love that. This actually might be a top team for what we can do here. Let's just do it. Where's Racing Bulls right there. Okay, it gives me 2.4 because I gotta be similar price than 8.8. Yeah, 8.8, 8.6. So knowing that, yeah, Racing Bulls. I mean, they haven't been scoring more points, but of all the weeks, it could be. Yeah, it's a really tough sell to be hopping off onto some of these like other drivers that have no DNFs. I don't expect there to be DNFs this week to take negative points, but let's see how we did. 8 and 11. 6 and 11. So Hedger should be in. Somehow I gotta get, I think one of these Mercedes drivers in here. Let's do Antonelli to see how we're doing. Oh, we actually have a little bit more room. So Russell's been pretty solid this weekend, so it's like that. And then 6.9. We could take, I guess maybe we are taking a doing like that. Well, still 1.5 available. Not totally finalizing this, so that's with 4 moves. So making 4 moves. So I'm taking -10 to make these changes. Honestly, maybe with that, maybe the only one I don't do is change out these. The Racing Bulls and the Haas. Maybe that's the only change I make. Maybe I'll just leave Haas in there. So that's all my 3 changes. So Albon Stroll. So looking at that, hold on. Albon Stroll. Let's see what they've put up the last few weeks. Hmm, 16, 17, and 2 for Stroll. 17, 11, and 8 for Albon. What was the other one I needed? Hulkenberg. So Albon to Russell, I'm gaining points. Stroll to Duhan, I am losing a few points, it looks like. 1.7, because that minus 20 is kind of, I'm trying to ignore that one. So the last two races, he's got 17. Last two races, Stroll's 19. It's not a huge difference. And then I'm looking at Hulkenberg, 3 points the last few races for Hajar, which has given me 19. So I think I'm still gaining points. It's just a matter of, am I going to gain the value I want, which Russell, Duhan, and Hajar. Fantasy Tools budget says Hajar and Duhan should be going up. Their required points. Hajar just needs negative. Duhan needs negative. And Russell needs 6. So I think this might be the way we're going. I'll make all these 3 changes. Keep my drivers the same. Not my favorite, but I do think the Hulkenberg to Hajar move is one that people I think have to kind of make just because the value is so easy for Hajar. Like, he can't go down in value. People have to realize at 4.5 he cannot go down in value at all. And with the crash for these two coming off their books, like, that's going to be a huge jump for their points per million as well. So I think these are the moves that people have to be kind of looking for in the season, where as these guys have crashes come off, go and get equivalent scoring drivers, knowing that it's going to be easier. Like, their value should climb the next couple of weeks, and then you can always switch back should these guys start to become more regular points getters, or if these guys crash again, because that's always the risk of taking drivers that have crashes coming off. Are they likely to be ones like the Grosjean, Mazepin types that are going to crash again? So yeah, I think we're going to lock this in, because this is, I know it's a constructor focused one, but we kind of didn't really change our constructors around. We just added difference of drivers. So we'll see how that goes. The driver focus one for this one, it's already pretty heavy. I can't really see a reason to change too much going here, other than if there was a way to get Russell in this lineup, which might have to be this. So if I do this and take, oh, where's that jar? Right there. How much does that give me? 27.7, still not quite enough for Lando. But I only have 2 free transfers, so I already switched out Hajar. Yeah, there's just not a way I can do that. I think I'm going to hold steady with this team, knowing I expect both these to go up in value. I have a big 3 group here that I expect 3 of these guys to finish in the top 5. Maybe like including Lando in there, and then either one of the Ferraris and the Norris's types. Looking at this one over here, this is kind of a team that's relatively safe. Like, Russell's look strong, Piastri's look strong, and I already have the Mercedes team in here. I only have $1 million extra to spend here with 2 transfers. So if I take out Nico and Stroll, 18. And I put in, let's go Isaac Hajar. And I have 14 million. I could go get Alex Albon here, which is really tempting. Something like this. Or I don't really want to switch Haas out, to be honest. I kind of like leaving him there. Yeah, because I don't want to get too crazy, especially on a safe race weekend where I don't expect many DNFs, but like, this could be the weekend where, like, you're not using any insurance chips this weekend. Like, there's no reason to use a no negative. I don't think autopilot could be one, but I just don't think. I think there's better races for that. Like, autopilot, I'd rather take on a riskier track where a crash or a red flag could ruin one of your best drivers' races if it's the timing's unfortunate. I think that's more the time to use that one. Yeah, I just don't know. Like, everyone's supposed to go up here. I think Hulk might be the only. Hulk and Stroll. And change Stroll over to. I change Stroll to an Albon. Should do that. Stroll to Albon. Yeah, I think, but part of me is the problem is I really like how these teams have looked. I do get away from 30 to get there. So that's where you have to drop Russell out for this team, which makes sense because that's a summer team. So knowing that this is my budget building one, I'll probably leave this to be kind of like a baseline. So like Hulkenberg, I'm going to bring out, and I'm probably going to put Hajar in. Where'd he go? So lose me 4.4. How high can I go with this? Not this one. I don't really love higher options. Maybe Ollie Behrman, but his value, like, he could score similar point. Double Haas, eh? I'm building points. So I'm building budget with this team. So Behrman needs -4 to go up. So he's actually even safer than Ocon this weekend, but Hedger needs -6. It's just a matter of who's going to score more points between them this weekend. Hedger's got the easiest point per million. I think it has to be Hajar, and I'll just swallow the budget difference. Actually, I can make a few moves. Maybe I just move Stroll up to Albon. A little bit safer. I can finally get Stroll in my lineup. Yeah, I think this is what we do. Because for as much as Stroll only needs 8 points to go up in value, Albon needs 17. Okay, I like that a little less. This is the budget building team. I think Stroll is to stay in. Also, move it Snowda 17. Yeah, all those mid-tier guys are going to cost us monies. I mean, I like this team more for points. Like, we kind of have a bit of budget already, but Stroll in there. Williams. How does Williams compare to Haas? Williams needs -6 to go up. Needs 6 points to go up the full value. So this could be where we start to switch over if you can afford it. Oh, I can't afford it. Really? 0.9 away. Wow. That hurts me. All right, well, I'm just going to back up because I want to see how I start. So I only switched out Hulkenberg. Yeah, so I think for this team, I think we just got to keep it simple. Like, Hulk didn't go up nearly enough for me, so let's throw Hajar in there. Because, I mean, I don't expect very different points from, like, Ollie Behrman, stuff like only 4 last week in a good drive, 20, like, yeah. I don't expect this team to score much less than the others, but maybe I do switch the Haas out to maybe the Racing Bulls now. 13 to use. Expect a good week from the Racing Bulls, maybe. You know what? Let's try it. Something less. I don't love this, if I'm being completely honest. It's not my favorite. I'm in like a weird spot where value and driver values are all over the place. Part of me just wants to leave this as it is because I'm using the most amount of points, but to sit on 3 million for the difference in a Hulkenberg versus a Hajar, if that's totally worth like swallowing that amount, I think it is. Like, I think we want Hulkenberg out of lineups this week because Fantasy Fields has him needing 12 points before he starts to go negative, 11 before -6. So save 3 million. Points difference they're going to score is few. Like, maybe it's 3 points to save 3 million. Like, I think that's worth it. I think that is worth it. I think I need Hulkenberg out, Hajar in. I think that's going to be a move for all my teams this week, is wherever there's a Hulkenberg. What the hell? Let's do this. Do Behrman to be more effective? Behrman has been safer. And it's similar points. So, you know what? Because Behrman didn't crash. Behrman's been just a safe boy. He's been a safe boy. But Hadjar can't go down, no matter what happens. Hadjar cannot go down. Free money. That's how I'm looking at this. As much as I have 4 million available, and I don't like that, I think that's what we have to do. We're building budget still. Let's do it. This is what we're locking in with. Just gonna make the one change. And I think this has to be a one change we make on quite a few teams. I think we need Hulkenberg out. So even looking at this team, 8.4. And then let's go get the driver focus ones. Yeah, let's go Behrman on this one. Just to be a little different, see how they're going. And because a big part of this, knowing it's a driver focus one, Behrman should be doing better points wise than Hadjar has given past results. Although Hadjar finishing the points, if he can't qualify well. Behrman made lots of passes in China, and I like that. I do like that. So if he qualifies poorly, that's where he could end again. Pretty consistent. Yeah, we'll just do something different for this one. We'll go Behrman on this one just to get Hulk out. So I think that's what we need to be doing. Everyone needs to be getting Hulk out. So start hulking out right now. And cool. So those, I think, are all the transfers we're making for now. Again, no reason to be using chips this week. I think if you want to be using a 3 times on like a Lando or a Piastri, feel free to. I think Limitless, obviously, like you'd rather save those for sprints. You'd rather just both the 3 times than that. You like a guaranteed thing, but I guess the 3 times is one. They are getting enough score, especially for 3. Just wait for a sprint. Wait for a sprint. I wouldn't recommend using any chips this weekend. Just stay the course there. And then on this one here, so this is the good team. So Hulkenberg's definitely coming out. The Hadjar's already in. So now we have 7.8 to use. So this might be where we are throwing Behrman in there. So this is a team. So I already have Williams in there because I want points. And I am going to get a little bit of budget, which is fun. Why is this not scrolling right? Oh, it's values upside down. That's why. Cool. That was psyching me out. Maybe we are going Behrman on this team as well. We can't use Alonso yet. It's going to be doing. Hadjar is already on the team. Yeah, I think we're going Behrman on this team. Can't afford an Ocon by that much. That's fine. Completely fine with this. So, knowing that this is a team that I actually care about points on, I think this is the way we have to go. So even for the drivers, there's to drop a Piastri to, let's see, 10, 45, and 24. What's Russell been doing? 45, 24, kind of similar. They're very similar in points. 45, 24, just consistent. Yeah, I don't think the drop to a Mercedes driver is well worth it. Especially when Piastri's capable of beating Lando for being a little bit more aggressive. I think this is what we're running with on the global rankings team. I'm not getting too cute with it. Everyone should go up in value here at least a little bit, and we're going to score respectable amounts of points. So I think that's what we're doing. However, if I do that, now I can get an Ocon. No. Don't get too cute. This is what I want to compete with, I think. Yeah, that's what I want to compete with. Because even looking on here, Albon and Sainz are similar in points, so take the guy that's been more consistent in Albon, especially when Ocon and Behrman have been scoring similarly as well. Just take safer options for both. Forget the little bit of money that I can take. So I'm using only 1 free transfer, so I think I still get to carry over because I still have one of my original 2 available. I should be able to carry that forward into next race as well, as they are cumulative. All right, so we're with inside of an hour for the next race. I will get this posted for you guys. I think these are similar teams to what you could be looking for. I think Hulkenberg needs to be out. Actually, given that, this team, fix this team. How is Salver looking? Salver only needs 5 points to go up in value, but we can do better than that, I think. What are we doing? 6.4? No, we cannot do better than that. That's why. Okay, that's fine. But let's do this. So, where's Hajar? On this team, even just to be quick. Because yeah, I got a big 3 here. I'm Haas, so I'm just building constructors down here and racing balls. That's what we're looking like. We still have 3 million to burn. So hypothetically, 7.7 is the best I can do for drivers. Berman over Hajar. No, kind of like Hajar. Save the money. Let's see what happens. I don't love leaving money on the table, but I don't think spending that little money is going to get me more or littler points, and I'm taking the same thing and not losing value here. So 2 of 3 changes. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Cool. I think this is what most teams should look like. So if you're going heavy with drivers, that way you can be doing this. And then, yeah, I think between this team and these group of teams, I think these are the combinations of teams of drivers that you should be chasing. Haven't really found a way to get Verstappen in any of my lineups yet, just because he still costs so much and he's the one doing all the work there. So it's a lot of risk and reward. If the track does not favor his car and he's not able to make magic happen, then we're just losing out. So I think it's something to be said for going safe. We're going to be getting this posted here soon for you guys, as we're very close to quali time. Hopefully your teams do well. Hopefully everyone is enjoying the season so far, as we have a much more competitive team before the teams. We will talk after the Bahrain Grand Prix. See ya.